Welcome to our 5 Questions, 5 Answers series. Thank you so much for being a part of it. This week, I am interviewing Matt Allen with the City of Garden City. Matt, please tell me a little about yourself and the role your organization plays in our community.
Sure. Well, I'm the city manager for the City of Garden City, so my role is the chief administrative officer of our organization. We have a 5-member board of directors. That's the city commission. They're all 5 elected at large. And they're volunteers, and they meet twice a month, and they're kind of the sort of board of directors for our organization. They hire a city manager, that's me, and we have about a little short of 400 full-time employees. We operate 26 different business units. Most of those are kind of traditional governmental: streets, fire, police, parks. But we also are a full-service city, so we're into some things that would be recognized in some places as maybe a private or independent nonprofit venture, such as an electric utility, water utility, sanitation, wastewater utility. We operate an accredited zoo, one of, I think, 200 accredited zoos and aquariums in the United States. And then we also operate a municipal golf course that's a top 10 public municipal golf course in the country, and operate an airport as well. And that airport flies approximately 30,000 people out of Garden City every year on commercial jet service to Dallas.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. As you know, the Telegram's goal in 2024 is understand our role in the community like never before. Our 5 Questions, 5 Answers series is an opportunity for us to ask the same 5 questions to individual community leaders just like you throughout the country. Our first question is the most important. What are the most pressing challenges facing our community at a local level right now?
The shortage of housing would probably be the most pressing issue in our community right now, and followed by available workforce and available child care. I think those are probably the top 3.
Considering the evolving media landscape, what role do you see local newspapers playing in the community 5 years from now?
So I would agree it's an evolving media landscape, but really for the Southwest Kansas market, there's an absence of sort of reliable, credible news that covers kind of the issues of our region. And so while people can turn on the TV and catch what's going on at a state level or a national level or a global level, there's really very little to turn to that provides full coverage at a local level, which is then left up by people to report on their own. Unqualified journalists or unqualified opinion offerers begin to dictate sort of the public understanding of important issues, and begins to skew the policy debate in strange directions that are really not something that we're normally used to as a local government working with either other local governments, our citizens, or business community.
In your opinion, what role should our newspaper play in promoting civic participation and community involvement?
The newspaper's role, I think, if you can grab those big issues, whether it's discussion about a project or a policy matter that's coming up in the community, and be able to kind of elevate those ones that are of greatest importance, and not just help the city government focus, but the community as a whole focus on the most pressing issues, and to paint a landscape of the variety of opinions that are out there that's an accurate one, kind of the left and right limits of maybe the local debate or the local issue at hand, and be a credible place for that civic debate or that civic forum to occur, in between it occurring on, in our case, first and third Tuesday afternoons.
Why do you think civic participation and community involvement are important?
Well, it's the rest of our organizational chart as a city government. I mean, yeah, we have the workers, and then they report to a management staff that reports to a city manager who reports to a city commission, but those city commissioners report to the community. And so, civic involvement, civic engagement, that report out, and then that funneling of information back in, that full engagement cycle, not just communicating out, but then gathering that and bringing it back in to the decision-making process, really is only happens if folks are informed. It only happens in a way that yields sort of quality communication if folks are informed. And I think that's the role of local media, is to, again, get the facts accurate, shape the left and right limits of the policy debate that's out there, and be able to kind of bring that discussion up to a point where it's got the community's attention, and that allows our elected officials to then make an informed decision and direct the staff accordingly.
Yeah. And then it also gets some of the community members communicating with the commissioners, so then they can refer it back to the board and have a full-on discussion.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then, what community events or activities do you believe our newspaper should cover to better connect with our residents?
Well, the city commission meetings, in my opinion, are one, and then the other taxing entities as well. But I know certainly you do that already. But kind of above and beyond that, I think kind of reaching out to kind of the Economic Development Corporation and understanding what their issues are, communications with the business community, and whether that's with like an organization like Downtown and some of their events, Downtown Vision and some of their events, or the Chamber of Commerce and some of their events, kind of being where civically engaged people are. Outside of that, how do you, kind of the dilemma would be, how do you get to where not civically engaged people are, to stir them and kind of excite them, I guess, or find some value in getting civically engaged. And so there, I would just look at, the volumes of people. Where are people at? Well, we know through kind of tracking of data through cell phones or other means that, our highest events are things like Fall Fest and Market Fest. They are a couple of parades a year, the Beef Empire Days, and covering that. And I think historically the Telegram's done a nice job of covering that, the Christmas Light Parade and this stuff. Those are big gatherings of humanity in our community, and where it sort of provides to interact with maybe which once upon a time would have been kind of going to the post office and getting the average person off the street's opinion on a policy issue. Now I think you could probably go to events like that and sort of get kind of a feel for where the bulk of the community's opinion might rest on a matter, or decipher whether or not they have an opinion at all.
Are there specific events that you feel more community support?
If that question is kind of, where could we build up coverage and community support? I've always thought regionally as a Telegram's kind of ripe canvas for coverage, and then maybe a ripe canvas for revenue generation is covering regional sports, regional high school sports and athletics. I mean, I think the Telegram does a good job historically of covering Garden City's schools, but if it's a regional paper, there's a regional population here. And that provides an opportunity to kind of cover not just sports, but activities in general, and whether or not that's the theater or just academic achievement on the part of students. I think that's where the local newspapers kind of really put their hooks into a community. Otherwise, it makes no sense to run a state news story or a local or a national news story in a local paper. Folks have already seen that. Whatever you're going to print, folks have already seen that 10 times over on television news or social media. The unique coverage is, what's going on with kids in the region.
And considering the current economic landscape, how can our newspaper support local businesses and contribute to economic growth in the community?
Yeah, so not quite sure what the assumption is on the current economic landscape, but I would say in Garden City, there's certainly a growing regional retail pull and a growing kind of desire for workforce space. Uh, the opportunity, I think, is to promote all of that in a regional manner, kind of drawing people into not just Garden City, but maybe drawing Garden Cityans out to someplace in, let's say, Lakin or Sublette, if it's a eatery or some mom and pop shop in those locations. How can we as a region begin moving people even more so than we already are back and forth between the different offerings that are out there in our region? So, yeah, I think being really active and engaged on telling the story of what's out there and what's good and why is it good, and getting people to go visit some of those places.
Are there specific challenges local businesses are facing that the newspaper can address?
I would probably just give you the same answer again. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But I think I hit maybe a little bit more on just the retail activity and that type of thing from the worker standpoint of just, who's out there, who needs workers, what's the story there, what would be the appeal of going to work, some kind of feature stories on places that are, may have some growth going on and are looking for people and offer a good opportunity for upward advancement. Those types of appeal stories might be a way to help local businesses.
Thank you for sharing and being a part of our 5 Questions, 5 Answers series. Before we leave, what question can we ask the community in our upcoming survey that your organization would like to know the answer to?
Where would they like to get their news from? Their local news from, their local information and facts on city issues. I think our assumption is that would be from a source like the Garden City Telegram. Oftentimes, while we have our own communications department and we have our own, we do some of our own engagement efforts, we make a conscious effort to stop short of being the news. In other words, we're not going to go out and try to shape the policy debate. We're going to be very fact-oriented because we're pushing out as a staff. But a lot of the issues we talk about go beyond facts. I mean, they kind of push up to the brink of where community values come to play, and those can often compete. Whether it's a matter of effectiveness versus efficiency, or individual rights versus kind of equity type of a thing. All those competing public values clash on the big issues that face the city. We believe it's inappropriate at a staff level to push out the shaping of that debate, that clash of community values. Push out the facts. People can kind of put the pieces together. But if it's a story that the Telegram doesn't pick up, it's really left without somebody to tell that competing values story. So, the question I think I would ask is, in the absence of, if not the Garden City Telegram telling that story, where would the public expect to get that information? My fear it's that unqualified journalism. It's that people offering non-fact checked opinions about the history of something or other, or the matters of right now, and getting that information completely wrong and starting a wildfire discussion that takes off on social media, and it really kind of skews the debate.
That's it.
Thanks.